Just so crazy how things ended. A sweep which no one expected. LeBron played one of those first halves where you think, oh my God, this is like the game in Boston all those years ago where he's just going to insert his will. 31 points in the first half. Lakers up 15 at halftime. But look, couldn't close. Had two chances to tie it at the end of the game. Couldn't do it. LeBron obviously just looking gassed. Nikola Jokic, just a dominant performance again. A record eighth triple-double of these playoffs. And the real kicker, though, was afterward. LeBron James saying, quote, he has a lot to think about this offseason, and reports coming in from TNT ESPN right afterward that he is considering retirement. So, Matt, what is your reaction to all of that? Is it exhaustion in the moment? Is it a leverage play? Or do you think that he is seriously considering that we have seen him play his last game?
I think it could be a little bit of everything, and I think Boogie and I can speak to being in the moment post game and just so many things running through your head and just kind of being open and vulnerable. I think LeBron realizes that he is getting older, and I think for the first time, we got a chance to see that as spectators and as fans of his, and it probably is a real consideration. But I highly doubt that we've seen the last of LeBron James um, this season. Although he said in his press conference he doesn't play to make the conference finals. He's been to plenty of those. He plays to win championships, and we totally get that and respect that. But when you put the season in perspective, this team started off 2-10 with a 13th seed at one point, and they made it to the Western Finals. And at the end of the day, Denver was just a better team, plain and simple. I mean, Bron's numbers were still amazing. AD's numbers in these Western Finals were amazing. They just didn't have enough. So, I think we saw, that amazing first half, and my question at halftime was, does he have enough in the tank to carry this team over the finish line? And I was telling my group here, I was like, if he doesn't get over 40, they're going to lose. And he got right to 40, and they lost by two. And you saw down the stretch, Rach, in the closing, they had two opportunities. He dribbled the ball for a long time, then made a pass, and nothing happened. And then he tried to get downhill. Great defense by Jamal Murray and Aaron Gordon to kind of deflect the shot. He just didn't have enough in the tank to get them over the hump. And we're so accustomed to him having plenty in the tank and running through those guys and making some kind of heroic, amazing shot. So the one thing I will say is LeBron is always kind of conscious. He's writing his ending now, as have most of the greats have done. And for him to have a 40, 10, and 9 in a closeout game, putting his team on his back was incredible. But to answer your original question, I don't see this being the end of LeBron, but he's definitely understanding his body and where he's at right now. And to keep it real, you can't gracefully age in sports anymore because there's too many critics, there's too much media, and especially someone who's been amazing for 20. I mean, he's been amazing before he got in the NBA, but someone's been amazing so long. There's so many critics and haters. You can't gracefully age in this game. So I think a lot of things probably hit him at the moment when he was at the podium that he was just being open and vulnerable. But I don't think we've seen the last of him in an NBA uniform.
I agree with that. I don't see this being the end for him. He has goals of, having the opportunity to play on the same team as his son, which is a realistic thing. That's something that is rarely seen in sports. Obviously, it'd be an iconic moment for the NBA, for his legend, for his family's legend. So those are real things that I think will eventually happen. So I agree with Matt. It's definitely coming from a place of exhaustion, being tired. This may be the first year where LeBron really feels that his age is kicking in. He's not the youthful LeBron that we're used to. Our expectations of him since he stepped in is just this machine that never stops working. And, those days are coming to an end. The ending is near, but to say last night was the last game, I just don't see that being the case. I think we get a few more years of LeBron, but this is definitely the beginning of the end.
This is just my opinion. It's not based on any conversation. I still have to say he's got a 99% chance of coming back. I mean, come on. He's wanted to play with Bronny for like 6 or 7 years now. He's been talking about this. And how many guys have you seen? I mean, I have stood next to guys after they finish playoff runs, either victorious or not, who tell me they're retiring straight out. Not I'm thinking about it, but just say, I'm going to retire. This is it. And then we see them back in camp the next year. I feel like you've just got to be so wrung out and exhausted at the end of one of these. And I'm sure he was embarrassed about the way that they went out. And you just sort of think about climbing up that hill again. He was playing on a bad foot there. There's been talk about off-season surgery. Do you guys think there's a chance? I mean, you can have off-season surgery at any time. You can get specialist consultations, and maybe you have a surgery that keeps you out the first few months of the season. Matt, do you see that as possibly something that could happen?
I don't know if it'll be surgery, but I just think for his case, the 82 plus the playoffs is too much at this point. At 20 years and at 38, and I want to read some numbers from this guy I met on Instagram, who's really dope. His handle is Numbers, Stats, and Facts, and he did a breakdown at current superstars at the age of 38 and what they did in their respective things. So obviously LeBron lost in the Western Finals, averaged nearly 28, 8, and 7 on 50% shooting at the age of 38. Kareem lost in the Western Conference Finals, averaged 34, 6, and 3.5 assists on 56% shooting. MJ didn't make the playoffs, but he averaged nearly 23 points, 6 rebounds, and 5 assists. Hakeem Olajuwon didn't make the playoffs, averaged 12 and 7. Shaquille O'Neal lost in the Eastern Conference semi, averaged 9 points, 5 rebounds. Tim Duncan lost in the first round, averaged 14 and 9. Kobe was retired, Larry Bird's retired, Magic Johnson's retired. So that just kind of puts some things in perspective of what he's doing at this level with this many miles at this age. And as I mentioned in my first bit, I could see LeBron playing another 2 years, but will the world allow him to only average 18 to 20 points, or will they shit on him the entire time? You know what I mean? Because like DeMarcus says, this is the beginning of the end with all due respect to his greatness. He just can't do it and carry franchises and organizations anymore. So can he gracefully kind of get a last couple of years in? I'm sure he's going to want to, obviously he's such a competitor, he's going to want to play for a ring, but can the world allow him to kind of be a 18 to 20 point a game night guy just to play with his son? Or is it just going to be a constant media frenzy of he's ruining his this and he's ruining that? Because I feel like LeBron can do no harm to his legacy at this point. He can only add to it. I think his legacy is cemented as wherever you want to put him, a top 3 greatest players of all time. So I saw some bullshit floating around yesterday. Can a sweep damage it? Not at all. LeBron has cemented that he can only help his legacy from here. But my question is, will the outside world allow him to kind of slowly but surely fade away?
Well, Matt, don't you think that it's a little bit the way Kobe toward the end of his career, there was criticism of him, of what's he doing to the Lakers, but that had a lot to do with how the Lakers were doing, right? The Lakers were not doing well in the standings at that point. LeBron James, if he has a partner in Anthony Davis who is able to lead the team instead of him, if AD is able to take another step in his growth and all LeBron has to do is be that complementary player, I think, right, he takes less crap from the public if he's in that scenario, maybe?
I think so, absolutely. I think, me personally, I think that's the best plan, or that should be the Lakers' plan in general. Finding a way to move LeBron to the second option, move AD to a third, and finding the first option. I mean, you have guys like Kyrie Irving floating around. We know Dame isn't too happy in Portland. So, I mean, the whole Bradley Beal situation. So I believe it's options to keep this thing afloat. Obviously, the Lakers front office has to become, really creative in making those things happen. But, I mean, to say it's the beginning and the end, I do believe that is the case, but there's still a lot of life left in this lemon. So I say the Lakers squeeze the lemon, find a third star to fit in with Anthony Davis and LeBron, and one that can lead the charge with those guys. And I think they're right back in contention for the next season.